Welcome back to Plug Life Television, where I'm just back from my holidays to Norway. Now, when people think about the most successful countries in the world when it comes to electric vehicle uptake, many people think of the US and China in terms of sheer volumes of EVs sold. But the clear winner when it comes to percentage of members of the population who have an EV and percentage of overall vehicle sales is Norway. Now, this has been a success story in the making for some time, so let's begin with a little bit of history as to Norway's success story with electric vehicles, or elbils as they are known there. Norway had an advantageous starting position when it began its elbil adventure. The mountainous nation runs almost entirely on hydropower, with a solitary token gas power plant that seems to exist just to make the rest of the world look not so far behind, although even that is being phased out this year. Roads are often tight and tortuous, culminating in speed limits that rarely exceed 80 km an hour, or 50 miles per hour. Norway also has a vast sovereign wealth fund from its oil and gas reserves. The less it needs to burn itself, the more oil and gas it can export, and the more wealth it can add to the fund. That fund currently stands at $1 trillion US. Not bad for a nation of only 5.3 million people. Norway has high import taxes on cars and has been home to at least 2 electric car manufacturers. Therefore, Norway had many levers it could pull to incentivise EV uptake in a way that would ultimately be profitable. And incentivise it did. Able to lower the cost of taxes on elbils rather than pay the owners subsidies, Norway removed import taxes and toll road fees, discounted annual car tax, company car tax, and road ferry use, and gave elbils access to bus lanes. Back in 2009, Norway invested €7 million in charging infrastructure, putting 1,900 charge points in the ground in just 2 years. In 2011, Mitsubishi introduced the iMEV to the Norwegian market. In its debut year, 1,050 iMEVs were sold, in comparison to just 167 in the UK. Norway's elbil population reached 10,000 in 2012 and accounted for 3% of total sales, more than most countries today. Plug-in vehicle sales have skyrocketed in Norway to the point that in September 2018, over 60% of vehicles sold in Norway were plug-in vehicles, and 75% of them were pure electric. More information is available from the Norwegian EV Association. Norway's EV success story has been mentioned a number of times in EV media, but what does it look like in real life? Well, when I arrived in Oslo, it didn't take me too long to find out. This was the view from the staircase in my hotel when I arrived in Oslo. We went for a walk around the block shortly after arriving, and I lost count of how many EVs I saw within about 5 minutes. Models that are comparatively rare or impossible to obtain in the UK, such as the Volkswagen e-Golf and e-Up and the Chevy Bolt, were commonplace, whilst plug-in hybrids were a rarity. Clearly, the money saved by going electric has left some owners feeling flush with cash, and it wasn't uncommon to see custom paint jobs on EVs, like this chalkboard paint on a Nissan Leaf. There was even a Tesla Model S that drove past us with a model SpaceX rocket strapped to the roof. With its extra propulsion system, it was a bit too quick for me to get my camera out, but thankfully someone else has managed to take photos of it. So there you go, there is proof it does exist. A short while later, we stumbled across this public car park like I've never seen before. Have a look at this. See if you can find the non-elbil. Did you see it? If you said this guy, you were right. In fact, the vast majority of vehicles in this shot are elbils. Not only that, but the ones on the row on the left are the only ones that are parked at charge points. Some municipalities in Norway have free parking for elbils, including Oslo, so it's perhaps no surprise that ICEs were decisively sidelined in city centre car parks. For all of the modern EV choices available in the Norwegian market, the Buddy still remains popular. Norway's home brand of EV was a regular sight on residential streets in Oslo, usually parked perpendicular to the pavement, like a smart car. It wasn't the only vintage EV to be found either. I spotted a couple of Peugeot 106 electrics during my time in Norway. A surprise sight was the Fiat 500e. I was under the impression that this vehicle was only available in California, but it appears that several Norwegians have taken a shining to them and imported them. One even popped up outside my hotel window. Perhaps one of the most interesting things about elbils in Oslo isn't the sheer number of them, it's the fact that most of them aren't plugged in. Yes, there are a number of on-street charge points, but interestingly, it was quite common to find PHEVs at them, whilst most of the pure elbils were parked in regular parking spaces on street, just like any other car, apparently with no anxiety whatsoever about where the next charge is coming from. Clearly Oslo have managed their charging infrastructure incredibly well to make sure that there is enough charge points to go around, and nobody has any range anxiety. There were a number of on-street charge points from the likes of Menicus, but interestingly there were also a large number of perfectly functioning relics of Norway's pioneering infrastructure rollout, featuring standard domestic sockets that require the use of the car's so-called granny cable. It is not clear how these would lock in place, but apparently cable unplugging and theft is not a concern in a civilised society like Oslo. Apologies about the poor film quality of those charge points there. I did try to get some better shots, but the streets were always busy and people kept looking at me like I was being weird. Such is the normality, the non-novelty of elbils in Norway, that they quite often feature on adverts, not advertising the elbil, but just being cars.
Elbil? Elbil?
After a few days in Oslo checking out the historic and contemporary architecture, the funky opera house, the royal palace, the Vigeland sculptures, the Nobel Peace Centre and the phallic waterbirds, we caught the night train to Bergen on Norway's west coast. Bergen may be famous in part for its oil and gas industry, but once again the elbil reigned supreme. To highlight just how incredibly popular EVs are in Bergen, I thought I'd play a fun game.
So let's play count the elbil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oh it was, yeah, 10, 11, 12, 13 elbils out of one stream of traffic so far, still going. 15 elbil, 16 elbil, 17, 18 elbil.
That was just one stream of traffic in Bergen. And here's just a normal car park.
Elbil, leaf hiding behind that one. Elbil, 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 Tesla elbil, couple of E-ups there, another elbil, elbil. Oh, there's no more elbils, there we go. There's loads over there.
And another one.
Bill.
Bergen has a very different feel and layout to it than Oslo, not least due to its steep hilly terrain and historic medieval Bergen district. As such, charging infrastructure was always going to take a different form from Oslo's, and Bergen had a couple of very neat solutions to this.
This is the BKK Danmarksplass electric vehicle charging hub in Bergen. And as you can see, they've got a rapid charger there, and they've got 3 Type 2 charge points. Oh, it's an E-volt one. There we go. Anyway, there's 6 destination posts, as I say, and a rapid charger. That's not bad, isn't it? Actually, oh wait, there's more. Hang on, let's have a little count of just how many rapid chargers they have at this hub. As far as I can see, I think they're possibly facing in opposite directions. It's not just like, yeah, it is. Okay, so there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 over the other side of that sole, and then the one in the naughty corner there. Now, that's quite an impressive effort. We passed this a couple of days ago and it was absolutely mobbed, but this is early-ish in the morning on a fairly wet and miserable day. We'll probably see activity pick up here fairly soon. But yeah, they've gone for it big time, and that certainly explains how they managed to keep all of their elbils going in Bergen.
In addition to this mega charging hub in the city's relatively new south side, Bergen also features multi-storey car parks with tens upon tens of charge points, apparently with active load management to prevent the grid from being overloaded, or the need to upgrade the grid in the first place. We spent a couple of days in Bergen, checking out the Bergen district, the hilltop streets, the funicular railway up Mount Fløibanen, and the nature walks back down it. the Code Art Museums, one of which houses the Scream by Edvard Munch, the Kunsthal, and stuffing our faces with everything from Norwegian brown cheese to cloudberry jam. I freaking love cloudberry jam. So good. Over breakfast at our hotel, the Scandic Ornan. Then our adventure really began. Come join us in the Fjord of Tranquility.